Like we're streaming like on Facebook and on YouTube, and I think it's even possible to stream on Instagram. But I'm not. I didn't look into that yet.
Sweet.
So
Nice.
how are you? I saw some posts of you saying you went out. There's already some gatherings and stuff there. In where are you, by the way?
Oh yeah, I'm in Michigan, and yeah, we were actually doing a free boot camp this weekend with a guy for about 4 days. It's going until Sunday, so tomorrow. And yeah, last night we went out to the bar and we were just talking to some girls, doing our thing, and dude, it was pretty fun, man. I think everybody's super happy just being outside again because we've been locked down for so long.
Everybody was losing their minds at home, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. How's your week been?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's really good.
Good.
So far has been, I mean, yeah, everything has been really great for me in the last month.
Nice.
Contrary to most people, I actually really enjoyed the COVID stuff. So I really enjoyed that opportunity at least to like just be by myself and be like, nah. And like
Yeah.
I kind of stopped for a while I focused more on my business and spiritual and less on meeting girls. So I think it was positive, very good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was definitely a time where you could stay inside and like spend some time alone with yourself and just like figure yourself out. And I feel like a lot of people did that.
I hope so. I hope they use the time to do that. I don't
Yeah.
think we'll ever in our lifetime have a situation like this, probably, I would assume. That's more
Oh
likely.
yeah, no.
Unless, yeah.
Wait, so we're live at this point, right?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Nothing needs to change. Just keep talking like if you were just chatting, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
how was the difference for you? Did you like? Was it like a first time in a long time that you went out, or you already been going out before? Or?
I've been like honestly, I've been doing what I can. I'm not gonna lie, it has been difficult. I mean, kind of like you, I tried to use the whole lockdown thing as like a positive. I didn't really mind staying inside a lot. I didn't really mind being in solitude for certain points of it. But no, I went out to the bar back in like October a few times, and then as far as just like keeping, my social skills savvy, I would just like go out to like whatever the store or like the park. Like parks got pretty busy. There's always lots of people walking on the weekends in parks around here. So I was doing that for a while. But yeah, last night was the first time we actually like went out for like a night out in several months. And well, actually, no, sorry. Wednesday was, but then last night, because St. Patty's Day, we kind of like went out and hit the streets, and then yeah, last night, yeah, went out to the bars and stuff. How's everything where you're at? Or like bars opening up and everything? Or
Well, not as of yet. So not really. Like quite closed. Some things opened, but like basic stuff. And some places are open to give some takeaway, but not really. Apart from that, there's not. It's still closed. Pretty closed.
where are you
There's
again?
Portugal.
Okay. Oh, so things are pretty locked up there still.
Still, yeah. But I think we'll be if things get to normal, we'll be opening up slowly from now
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, how was your experience since that the topic of this live would be like how to, uh, why guys struggle with connecting with women? I
Yeah.
guess an interesting question for you would be like, did you notice like, uh, I guess guys and girls maybe like being more needy than, or like, did you notice a difference like socially speaking from before maybe the last time when things were normal? And after this, like, did you notice anything?
That's a good question. I I think the thing that I noticed was that people, yeah, because like I'm from like the Detroit area of Michigan, and people tend
Mhm.
to be a little bit, I guess, like a little bit rugged. They don't like, I don't know. Me and Dale were just talking about this last night. Like, people typically don't tolerate a lot of, excuse me, they don't tolerate a lot of bullshit. They're kind of like, I don't know, kind of hard and like rough around the edges. But it seemed like last night people were friendlier than usual. Um, I don't know if I would say people were more like needy per se, but definitely friendlier than normal. Like, it seemed like everybody was just like, craving socializing. And, it seems like when they went out, it's like, they've committed to like, okay, I'm going out to a social place. I'm going to be like talking to new people. So yeah, everybody was just kind of like talking to each other. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I guess that we always miss what we don't have, right? Like what before everyone was like taking it for granted, socializing as something like everyone does on the Fridays and weekends. And so now we didn't have for a long time. Now everyone is like craving it for a while. Then things will probably get to kind of desensitized again. So things will just settle again later on,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, how are a question for you? So where you're at in Portugal, are are people typically like distancing from like new people, but then like are they kind of like socializing more with their families, or like how is everything down there?
Yeah, I think Portugal is an interesting country. People are still very conservative here. So I think in general, even when it comes to socializing, I think there is still a lot of like that kind of idea of being part of the group or a group, a social circle or stuff like that, but not really meeting strangers. Like there is not the culture of meeting strangers. So it's still people very close-minded in
Mm.
general. And so it's more they always hang out with the same people, with the same friends, group of friends, right?
Uh,
And then yeah, like even now quarantine, let's see, I didn't really went out at night. I mean, we went out sometimes like some months ago, but not lately. But not a lot of Portuguese people out. A lot of tourists, a lot of not tourists in there, Erasmus people that are coming now to Portugal. But I guess Portuguese people are a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more hard to connect with.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I just heard like in like more like Hispanic countries, people are like tighter with their families and like tighter with their close friends. But then in like here in America, people have this like attitude where it's like, I'm solo. I have to like do everything on my own and things like that.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, it's more of like a progressive country than this is more of like conservative, you know, playing safe kind of country. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like yeah, there's definitely positives and negatives to both attitudes because I found like I had to get over the whole doing it on my own attitude because I don't know. I've always had that for some reason, but when I do connect with people and when I do like reach out for help, like it always feels really good.
I think so. I think that's like I think a lot of people are for some reason like insecure for reaching out for help, but like
Yeah,
that's actually a sign of confidence and strength when you ask for help, not the weakness and you know always the best people in the areas in their life. They always had a lot of mentors and people that they helped them to get where they got. So they didn't get it by themselves. If people believe that they can achieve the life they want by themselves, it's just not impossible, but just unlikely that will happen, right?
oh yeah. I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that said, "There's no such thing as a self-made man. You can call me anything, but don't call me a self-made man," because like basically his whole thing is he got where he was because a lot of people like helped him, and I feel it. Yeah, I feel like a lot of successful people do that. They always like praise the people that helped them get there, as opposed to going, "Yeah, I did it all by myself."
Yeah, exactly. So I guess like based on the topic of today, and based on I guess your experience with the student and students in general, like what do you think is the main reason why so many guys struggle to genuinely connect with women? What do you think is the main things?
I think it's probably. I was thinking about this right before we got on here, and vulnerability came to my mind, but also something that's coming to my mind is like lack of confidence in yourself too. I think a lot of guys are afraid to use what they have. They're afraid to show themselves. They're afraid to talk about their past. They're afraid to share stories about their past because they're afraid the girl's not going to like them. And I think they just don't trust in themselves as a man, and they think they have to put on a show, and then that show where they're not, showing their true self, it just creates like a false connection between them and the girl, because like the girl, if she does connect at all, she's going to be connecting with their fake self. And that's what I truly believe. And we talk, like in the pickup community, they talk a lot about or the dating community, they talk a lot about like techniques and stuff. That stuff's good for like moving things forward, but at the end of the day, I think that if you want a genuine connection with somebody, you just have to be vulnerable and let them know exactly who you are, just so that they can see that, and then be totally, totally okay with who you are. And I think that's where inner game comes in, where people start to really accept themselves for who they are, and instead of looking for other people to validate them. And we talked about this a little bit when we did that live stream on Instagram. People are looking for validation all the time. I remember you brought up a really good point about that, and that it is kind of just like an ego game for a lot of people. They're trying to prove things to other people, but if you can really just approve of yourself and then share your life and share your personality with the girl, and get her to open up as well and show her that you're not judgmental towards her, then I think then you really start to get to know each other and build that. I think that's the base of building that deep connection.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, is that we, like a lot of guys, the experience I have is they want things, like they want to develop themselves, or they want the results right now. Like they want things to happen as fast as possible. And then they try to find these crutches or these things that kind of glitch or whatever, like a technique or whatever, to kind of get that right now, because they're so desperate to getting that like physical contact and like feeling loved in that sense. So they're trying to find like a trick or a fast track. They're so outcome attached, like outcome dependent. And that's, for me, the main reason why like guys struggle to connect with women, is because they're so attached to the outcome, they can't be there in the moment, because they're already thinking about all these things like ahead, all these steps ahead. They're not listening, they're not genuine about it. They're just looking like in the guys in the pickup stuff. Like I was a long time in my journey as well. It's like they're thinking about just how do I get sex, right? So they're not like, they don't even care about the people that they are interacting with. They're just caring about the outcome and how to get there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of selfishness. And I think that's really like, of course, you shouldn't be really good at connecting if you're just starting out, right? There must be a process for you to progress yourself, to learn, right? And that's where I think the techniques stuff, it's very useful. But usually people, when they grab onto something that gives them a little bit more certainty, they just become attached to that. And then they just start relying only on that, and then they make a whole persona around that, instead of using that as just like a temporary thing to take the next steps, to progress, and then let it go. And then, like, at least the way I see it about techniques is, you have the techniques so that you can remember, like the techniques, like remembering how you're supposed to be, but then dropping it at the moment you already like realized, oh yeah, I remember, like I shouldn't be acting such a weird way I was before, and I needed this tool to get to this point, but now I can let it go and I can just allow myself to be who I am.
Yeah, it's almost like people have to go through that period of not that period of like clunkiness, right? Where you're like learning the skills and the techniques and everything, learning how to whatever communicate, learning how to flirt properly, learning how to escalate the situation, start, touching each other a little bit, breaking the touch barrier, calibrating, how to lead, like learning those techniques. But then, yeah, after like a certain point, once it's like internalized in your brain, that like letting go of like, okay, I don't even need to think about it anymore consciously. I don't even need to consciously do this. Why don't I just have faith that I know the techniques well enough, and then instead of focusing so much on the technique, focus on now just connecting with the girl and being here with another human being, and just
Hmm.
realizing, I'm enough and she's another human, and we're two humans connecting with each other.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's like, at least the way I see it, a technique is like, is the tool that you're gonna use to overcome your fear, because you have all these like walls between, like what you create all these assumptions about how you should act in front of a stranger, and then you have all these walls between uh, who you really are and like this kind of facade that you put on, and then you kind of have to like face the fear that being who you really are is okay. No, nothing bad is gonna happen, because there is a sense of like protecting yourself, so you kind of have to use techniques to kind of like see through, go to the other side and be like, okay, maybe go to the other extreme, let's say, like, right, and then see, oh, it's okay, I'm okay, actually it's better this way. Actually, people enjoy myself more. I enjoy myself more this way when I actually go to the other side and I see like, oh yeah, this feels so much more right than
Yeah,
whatever I was doing before.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's almost like a bridge that you're crossing, and like the techniques are a bridge, and you think you're gonna like fall into the water if you let go of the bridge, but then once you make it to the other side, it's like, no, you're on the other side now. You can just like get rid of the bridge. You can cut the bridge or
No, but
something like
people like start grabbing onto the bridge, like, no, no,
that. I need the bridge.
no, bridge, it's
I
my
need
bridge.
it.
I survived with it. Can't let it go.
Yeah,
Actually, that's a good one. That's funny. I never thought it in that way, but yeah, that's yeah, but that's pretty much what happens. And so yeah, a lot of like, even today, I was with some friends at the beach, and we met some girls there, and it's funny. It's like, when you get to a point where you already went through that phase, and you start letting go more of your attachments to that, and your attachments to being validated in all these beliefs we have, like, you actually becomes things becomes very simple, and you just like have to allow things to happen. It's more of like, it's not so much a doing anymore. It's not
mm,
like you're doing this. It's more of like you allowing it to come through, and then you allow the connection to happen. Like, and I think a lot of people have this misinterpretation of what connection is. Like, in the sense of connecting means what you say, like the verbals. Like, you connect when someone, if you talk deep topics with them, or if you ask them about their childhood or whatever. But I think connection is something much deeper. It's almost on like a telepathic level. Like, you just feel that sense of connectedness, but it's beyond just the words, right? It's like pre-verbal.
yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's yeah, because I guess when you have like that mindset, and I guess maybe at the beginning it takes like some reference experiences for you to realize it is possible for you to connect with somebody else. Because if you take like, a lot of guys who get into the dating world, they're guys who are really really inexperienced, and like, some like no experience at all with women. So when they actually like get in and get that reference experience, then it's like, oh, their mindset totally shifts to like, this is possible now. I can connect with a girl. And now it's like, instead of walking out to the club and, yeah, like you were saying, like instead of like doing and instead of having to do something, it's like, I like what you said there about just letting it happen, because when you have that mindset of like, oh, I am a human who's capable of connecting with a woman, it's like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. your behaviors just become automatic almost and just natural.
Yeah, it's so weird, like because like a lot of things that I experience is the women, like when like there is a certain threshold that if you are afraid and you can't move things forward because you are afraid because of your like emotional blocks and the things that are holding you back, the women can feel that, and you even like you don't, if you don't make a move, like they're gonna like just not be interested, right? But it's funny because what I experience now is that I could be acting exactly as that guy. Like if you look from like outside perspective, you would see the same, like a body, you know, like you would see the same thing. I
Yeah.
could be acting exactly the same way, but it's funny because the like when you come for like a deeper place within yourself, like literally the women start like escalating on you, and you're it seems like you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there, just talking, whatever, and they're like laughing, and it doesn't even it's not even funny what you're saying. You're just like, but that's not even funny. Like, why are you laughing? You're like, "Ah," like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah.
And then, like in the beach, for example, I was just really nonchalant, like, oh, you guys have drinks, like, whatever, like back in their apartment, and I was just, they were like, yeah, 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 and then the girl like give me her phone without me asking anything, like, oh yeah, put your number there, blah blah. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is should be this way, right? Things
Yeah.
should be that way. Should be like
It's
such a drag to fucking meet people and connect.
Yeah, dude, seriously. Yeah, cuz I mean, yeah, like humans connecting with other humans is like the most natural thing ever. And it's almost like the world is like starting to get configured in a way, although I think it's about to reverse, but like over the past year it was starting to get configured in a way where everybody's inside, everybody's away from each other, where people are starting to I don't know if I would say forget how to do that, but it's like I don't know. There's like a lot of rules around here about standing 6 feet away and like wearing a mask and everything, and it's kind of like cutting us off from each other. But I don't think you can stop natural human connection. So bars are starting to open back up again. People started going to parks, like I said, to go socialize. So I feel like, yeah, that human connection, people are gonna connect no matter what. It's like going to happen. It is the most natural thing in the world. And
Yeah,
yeah, and yeah, I just want to say what you're saying. It's like it's almost like your example of sitting there on the beach and the girls kind of gaming you. Do you feel like you're kind of like sitting just in like a certain energy? You're just like kind of sitting with your energy.
yeah, it's like there is this sense of like I don't need anything, right? I don't feel like I need to talk. There's not like
Yeah,
this like a lot of guys when they start out, which is normal, is like feeling like they always have to talk.
yeah,
Like they have to kind of talk more than the girls because they have to like they're the ones having to put more work into it. But actually like it shouldn't be this way because it's an interaction between two people. You shouldn't talk more than the other person. You should be like 50-50 at least, right? But it's
yeah,
funny to see that it's like I'm don't talk too much, and a lot of times I'm not even, I'm genuinely not even trying anything. I'm just like, she's talking and I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, and then
yeah,
and then she stops talking and I just look at her like, and then she becomes talk again, you know, and I'm
yeah,
just like, it's kind of like, okay, cool. What else you gonna do now that I'm not gonna like, you know, like instead of feeling the need to talk, you actually like kind of like stare at her and just like,
yeah, and yeah, and that's like that's almost like the push pull that they talk about in like the dating community. Which I mean, I learned all this stuff, and I'm sure you did too. Like how to pass a shit test, da da da. But I feel like when you do get really grounded in your own energy, and you just like I feel like meditation helps you pass shit tests, because when you meditate a lot and you learn how to get really grounded in the moment, you can bring that into your interactions with girls, and then they might shit test you and you probably won't even notice. Like, I don't even notice shit
It's
testing.
funny is that what is funny is that when you believe that shit test is a real thing, it's still in your reality, so girls will shit test you. When you just don't believe that even exists, the girls don't shit test you at all and they escalate on you. Because it's like you create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Holy shit, dude, that is some deep shit, man. I'm gonna have to like write that down and think about that. Because yeah, no, I totally buy into the self-fulfilling prophecy stuff because I've seen it. I used to like write out my frame of mind. Like for example, I had a huge block about being sexual with girls. I used to be like very ashamed of like, escalating and being sexual with them or like saying flirtatious comments, even like little things. But when I started writing out like, and when I started reading books like Sex at Dawn, and I started like writing out my frame every morning, which was like, sex is normal. Everything I do makes me stronger, whatever. But a lot of it was like, stuff that revolved around sex being normal, which is true. Like humans are very sexual, creatures, or creatures for lack of a better word, whatever. We're sexual beings. I found that like once I did totally believe that, I would go out and like, I don't like, it's like you don't even have to try anymore to make things sexual because it just happens. So like, yeah, that dude, everything that you think and hear, that's so true. It really is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you're gonna create the world around you in one way or another based on your belief system.
So that's the thing. What we're speaking about here is quite advanced stuff because there is a certain like a lot of times there is a certain like what we call it like a collective identity or a collective ego. So let's say about approach anxiety, right? Like every guy experience approach anxiety and then they reinforce to each other that it's real, and so it creates
Oh yeah,
this idea feeling on inside of themselves about approach anxiety. But I don't feel like approach anxiety. I don't feel anything like that because I'd stopped believing in it.
huh.
You know, it's like,
Interesting.
yeah, it's like you believe like, and then of course there is this kind of like collective, like the consciousness are all interconnected, and so the kind of each one reality creates a combined reality between all of them, and then
Yeah,
certain things it's like a contract that is never spoken about between everyone. Like everyone agrees that this is correct in reality, right? But
yeah,
once you start looking at those contracts and be like, why do I believe that just because everyone does? And then you just stop believing it, and it stops being part of your reality like everyone else.
yeah. I'm not a big fan of labels because I think that it does just that. It creates a reality that might not even be there. Like for example, if you want to know what I did with approach anxiety, I flipped it in my mind. I was like, wait a minute, this feeling, this isn't approach anxiety. This is excitement because I'm about to go talk to a hot girl. So I started telling myself that before like dates and stuff, and it worked. Because like it's weird how we perceive things. Like the same feeling that you get before talking to a hot girl, guys label that as approach anxiety. They label it as a bad thing, but that feeling is equivalent to the feeling you get before you ride a roller coaster. It's like the same feeling, but people like that feeling. They label it as a good thing because it's excitement. So it's like we put these labels on things, and it makes us go, "Oh, that's bad. I shouldn't feel that." But it's like, no, like that. It's just a feeling. You're a human, and you feel things.
Yeah, like you should feel excited to feel. Like
Yeah,
when you don't feel means you're just dead. Maybe you're not physically dead, but you're just in such an apathy. You're just cut off from your feelings that you don't even feel anything. Then, like, what is the point of life?
yeah,
Like, like feeling, like either ups and downs are what creates a good life. It's like what creates some contrast in your life, and you can like say like, "Fuck, that was an adventure." Like in the end of your life, be like, "Fuck yeah, that wasn't fucking boring. That was fucking an adventure." And it wasn't repetitive like most people, like just going through the motions and repeating the same routines.
that is so true. Yeah, I feel like we have to have a big conversation about, or like an ongoing conversation in society about how feelings are what life is about. And like we need to stop labeling the ups and downs as good and bad and just call them what they are. They're just feelings that we feel in life. Because that's, I mean, yeah, that's literally what they are. Like I feel like if everyone would be a lot happier if sadness was a good thing. If even
It's like,
depression.
imagine like you are a child and your mom's like, when you feel uncertainty, that's the best. That's so
Yeah.
you're like, right? You'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm feeling uncertain. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason why we judge it in that way. It's because we were conditioned to believe that's the way that it's the right way to judge it. But we have no clue what's right or wrong. We are completely clueless in this universe. We're completely no idea. Like we just act like we know. Like we just like, yeah, I know. We have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing about like people when people say like I'm confused, like I don't know what to do, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, if you're not confused, you're probably more confused if you're not confused.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if you're
true.
not confused, you're just repeating the same fucking patterns. You're not growing. You're not doing anything, right? But
Yeah.
if you're confused, that means like shit, something is happening that I'm confused, and that means that's something new coming to my life because I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I had a point where, I mean, in this community, like, with you or like anybody who's like spiritual in the spiritual community or in the dating community, people who like focus on developing themselves, they tend to embrace that feeling of like uh, discomfort, and they seem to like risk looking like a fool a little bit more. And I've noticed that when I like hang out with people that I went to high school with, or just like average people, your average person off the street, people want to feel that like significance of like, I know this, I'm good at this, like this is my identity. They want to feel like so secure about themselves. Like I've worked a couple different jobs where people, um, even at like pretty low positions, they take their job very seriously, which is cool. But then they have almost like kind of
Ego
like,
about it. Yeah.
they have an arrogance about it, and it's you can tell they get a high from seeing somebody else fail at the same thing. And I feel uh like if you go out and you do look like a fool a lot, like you try a lot of new things and you look kind of stupid, yeah, maybe like people are gonna like make fun of you and stuff, but it's like at the same time you're actually better off because you're one of the few people challenging yourself and putting yourself into new situations and stimulating your brain and embracing that uncertainty and learning and growing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why guys like coming back to the topic, why struggle connecting with women is because they take themselves too fucking seriously, like they're a fucking James
Yeah.
Bond character or whatever. And then they have to look cool and be like, "Yeah, girl, what's up?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the way I said it here, it probably would work. Like that's the funny thing is that a lot of guys talk about like the way you say it and like what you say is so important, right? But like I can say the most like retarded thing and it like still work because I just believe
Yeah.
in it. Like everything that comes out of my mouth is like gold, you know.
Yeah.
And then anything can work, even the most stupid shit that you can say. So like, yeah, just going up like, yeah, girl, like, but like it's a joke, right? So there's not. It's like you make it like that's another thing you can do. Like when you take yourselves too seriously, just imagine the exaggerated version of that, like the ridiculous version of that, and just like try to play that out either in your mind or just talk with someone like doing that. Like, yeah, like I got rejected and I felt so bad.
Yeah. Just turn it into a total cartoon, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, just because that just drops the front, right? When you play that cartoon, you just cannot hold on to that front that you were trying to play because you just can't keep yourself like taking yourself serious after that. Like just like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, dude. When you stop taking yourself too seriously, that freedom that you feel is just amazing because then it's like It just doesn't matter anymore. It's like one more weight that you can drop off of your shoulders. Um, and I feel that people who practice like dating skills and like walk up to girls and take themselves too seriously, they're like, oh, I'm good at this now. They're like in the same. They're kind of in the same mindset or the same vibration as the guy who's standing on the wall with his beer, not doing anything, because like now, okay, well, you learned some new skills. You're still taking yourself too seriously. You're still trying to put on a show for people. You're still trying to look cool, and it's like, dude, like,
Yeah, it's just a different version of the same.
yeah, exactly. That was, by the way, that was the thing that I love about approaching women at the very start was I don't know if I told you this the last time I talked, but the first guy that I found out about was Johnny Burba. And have you heard of Johnny Burba?
Never heard of him, no.
He's this guy from London who was a dating coach, but then he became like a confidence coach. He has guys like overcome their social anxiety by approaching a bunch of women. And he would take these really shy students out and he'd just be like, okay, go give that girl a compliment. And he'd just like throw them in there and they'd be like, oh, hey, you're attractive. Just and like, dude, that was the most inspirational thing to me ever. Cause I'm like, holy shit, like this dude's shy like me, but he's just like going up to this girl and like just letting go. And he doesn't even care that he looks weird. So like, yeah, there's something about just embracing the fact that you don't really look that cool, but you're just kind of sitting there in embracing the awkwardness, embracing the uncertainty, the discomfort of the whole situation. There's something magical about that.
Yeah, dude, I always enjoyed that. I always enjoyed to kind of be like retarded
Yeah.
and acting in the most retarded ways. Like I remember back in back some years ago, there was like some bars that had, like these strip poles, and I would
Mhm.
just like jump on the strip pole on the top and just like slide down, and then just like point at when I come down, I just point at a girl and be like, and then he's like, just some random shit like that, like, and like everyone in the bar was like looking at me like, what the fuck is going on with that guy? That guy must be on drugs for sure. I was like full sober.
Yeah. Dude, that's hilarious too when people assume you're drunk when you're not, because it's
Yeah,
not even it's not even in their reality. It's like, wait, you can actually do that when you're not drunk? Like you can have
yeah.
fun, you can like act like weird when you're not drunk. um yeah.
Actually, that's a good one. Like a lot of guys like go up around the bar and approach. A lot of times, like that's just really urging you. Like something that really helped me was just going to the bar and then like I just look around, and then usually the girls that are looking for attention, they're like scanning. So you just kind of like lock eye contact with them and just tell them to come to you. You know,
Yeah.
that's something that I used to do as well. That's
Yeah, and I find that with that it's like the combination of like the certainty, and if you're just having fun, it's like it puts the girl, it lets the girl know that you're not going to judge her because you're not judging yourself. Like you're like letting go, so the girl knows like, oh, if I get with this guy, like I can let go too. It's just like yeah, because
yeah. Just give her permission to drop the front.
yeah,
Like yeah, that's I think
exactly.
that's massive because until then, like people are just talking with each other's front. They're
Yep.
just kind of like mirroring each other's front and then having these polite, not authentic like interactions. And
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people have those kind of interactions even when people without cold like meeting in cold approach or whatever. Just like random like they have this kind of conversation because they're just like they don't know well, I guess they don't know any better, they don't feel comfortable with people.
Yeah. Dude, I sometimes I mean not so much now, but I used to be like ultra nice guy. Put on a front all the time, wanted everybody to like me, and I noticed one time it was such a little moment, but when I was up north this summer in northern Michigan, I was just about to drive back down here. I'm in like the Detroit area of Michigan now, but I was just about to drive back down, and I was in line, and I was talking to this girl behind me, and I'm just like, "Hey, how's your day going?" She was like, "Oh, it's going good," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And it was kind of like this, fake surface level conversation where we're both like, putting on a smile and a front and everything, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, I like, you know what kombucha is? Like the
Kombucha,
drink
yeah,
kombucha.
the tea, yeah.
Yeah, I started like I was getting a kombucha and I was like, this kombucha's black. Like I don't know what flavor it is. It says like super berry, but I don't know like any black berries. It's just like a black drink, and I don't know what it's gonna taste like. And like as soon as I just started talking about something random, I noticed her body language all of a sudden was like, oh, and she like kind of giggled a little bit, and she like came out of that like persona she was putting on and just relaxed. It's amazing seeing that stuff, like when you just relax and then you see like the girl you're talking to just go, oh, okay, I can relax now. He's not gonna be the nice guy who needs to put me on a pedestal and needs me to act like a princess or whatever. Yeah.
That's hilarious. You like this? It's black. You like black things? Black big kombuchas?
Yeah, big black kombuchas.
Big black.
You like those?
That's something that I really love about like the like what guys talk about sexualizing. I just like, how can I say the most like retarded, like the funniest thing that doesn't make any sense but like does it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because like once you start cultivating that creativity as well, like, and you start like being more into your own expression and like
Yeah.
what you're saying, it's not about even what the girl responds, it's just about like how you express yourself and how you just like to express your own sense of humor, your own jokes. Like you just like if those, like it's something that I like inside jokes with your buddy. I love that fucking shit. Like when you're just like talking with some girls and
Right.
then your buddy's there and just like talk about this joke that they don't get it, but we're just like laughing for they don't understand what the fuck we're laughing at, but like you know.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that part of meeting girls and meeting people. It's just like just being so retarded and like saying like these jokes, and then like yeah, just really expressing yourself. Guys that are like, "Oh, how do I say this thing to get laid?" I'm like, no, dude, come on, let's have some
Yeah.
fun, bro. It's fucking life is
Yeah.
short. Like, let's have fun. Like, girls will come to like. That's the thing is like, okay, you need to learn certain things structurally wise and know like how to move things forward. But once you are good with that, like you just have fun and then you just things just happen naturally, like you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, like things can be so easy, and I think like that's what guys don't understand is like a lot of guys make this such an like chore and like an efforting like, and there is like a kind of like there is a phase for that. I guess like in the beginning you kind of have to put effort, and like it kind of is something that you kind of have to push yourself and like kind of lovingly kick yourself in the ass to do it. But I don't think it should be, you should stay in that phase for too long. Like I think me personally, I stay there way too long, and people in general stay there too long because we just get attached to what we know. So like we just
Yeah.
stay there because it's comfortable, uncomfortably comfortable.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of guys are afraid to just make a mistake too. Like a lot of guys are, and sometimes I really think about like our schooling system. I get a little bit cynical about the schooling system because it teaches us that there's a right answer for everything. It's like memorize this right answer. Somebody else tells you what the right answer is. Here's the right answer. And we kind of like take that into life. And it's like, but when you're talking to a girl, you shouldn't be like going, okay, what is the right answer? What is the right answer? Because there is no right answer. Like you go in, you make some mistakes, and then you calibrate. Like that's the huge thing with calibration. Like I think it was I think it was Jeffy. Jeffy from
RC,
our
yeah.
Yeah, I think he said something like social errors are okay as long as you're not oblivious to them. And I
And
mean,
even if you are, like, at
yeah,
least like if you do them enough, you probably can learn much more from that than if you don't do none of them at all, right? So
yeah,
I always was apologist of like, oh, instead of like playing so safe and like making mistakes, you're gonna make mistakes regardless. Like if you want to improve this, even if you do approach and like try to not make mistakes, you gotta make the mistake by not making the move because you're afraid, right? So you're gonna fail anyways. So you're better to proactively fail. So like create those mistakes. Like that's at least the way that I learned. That I learned to be like a quick learner is like I don't wait for mistakes. I just create them so that I can learn from them because they will happen anyways.
yeah. Damn, that's a good attitude. I feel like a lot of successful people have that attitude where they make their own mistakes, and it gives you like a sense of control over your life too. If you're the one like if you're
You're
well,
setting the tone. You're setting like the pace of the mistakes because the mistakes happen regardless. So, but
yeah,
you're at the cause of the mistakes instead of the reacting to the mistakes, right?
yeah, yep, yeah. I always viewed a conversation as like I by the way that guys talk. I see guys talk in the Facebook group. The way they think of a conversation, it seems like they want it to go okay. Opener, and then like, oh, I say this line, this line, this line, this line, this line, and this is how it goes. And if I fuck it up, oh god, it's all gonna fall apart. But it's like the way that I always viewed a conversation was almost like a juggling act. Like you have like three balls that represent the conversation, and you're like juggling these balls, and the conversation's going up, and you might like toss one off to the side, and it's like, oh, gotta keep it going. Like I gotta keep juggling these balls up, and that's kind of the attitude I've always taken with conversations is like, you know, there's going to be like a few awkward pauses. There's going to be a
I
few,
mean, that's the thing is like when you run out of like that's what I teach my students. Like, be happy that you don't have anything to say. Just use that to like build that tension, like to stare her down and just like imagine in your head that you're like undressing her and fucking her. Like that's you
I like
know,
that. It's,
yeah.
it's like embracing everything that happens or like using everything that happens in the conversation.
And you want to be more silent, like especially the moment that you see the girl is already investing, she's asking you questions and all that. You kind of want to like take the accelerator off what you're doing before and just kind of like let her work for you for it, because that's what women want. They want the work. They don't want you to fucking make all this effort. They want themselves to like deserve it, to make the effort for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that guy on YouTube, Charisma on Command, did a video on um, a guy from Mad Men, like the main character, where he said something like he was like analyzing how that guy acts in that show, and it's like when he says something, like people listen, but he doesn't really talk that much. And I feel like it kind of relates to what we were talking to, uh, five or like what Tuesday when we talked. Like we
Mhm.
said something about um, like uh, basically um, like I don't know. I lost my train of thought. We're getting we're getting
You're
super
saying
deep.
like charisma on command was saying that guys don't like the guy that talks less, he has like more impact when he talks, right?
Yeah. So it's like I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but basically, like basically, like if you're like if you're like a martial artist, I mean, this is a weird analogy, but I think we brought this up on Tuesday. Like if you're like a martial artist who knows martial arts, you don't need to use it. But like in conversation, like you know how to like converse with people, but you don't necessarily need to use it all the time. But girls can kind of like sense that from you. I feel like that
Yeah,
you can, that you
yeah,
can talk, but
yeah. Like I think the good example would be like with escalation. Like when you're afraid of escalating, you gotta kind of push yourself to escalate. But like at some point, if you already know you can do it, they will know you can do it without you doing it.
yeah, yeah, and
And
yeah, finally,
actually, you make them more insecure because you didn't do it, and they know that you could have done it, and they're like, why he's not doing it if if he knew
Yeah.
it? Makes them more like curious and like mysterious. Like, is this guy? I know that he can do it. It's like I think Jeffy said that. Maybe that was the example that I was thinking about. Jeffy's like, if you have like all this artillery, right, at the disposal, but you already know you can use it, you decide to not use it, and it's still it and like, because I think was like Jeff was like a video I remember, like he said like he went someday and his buddies went out and they decided to make chode game or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
With a funny joke like, let's do chode game tonight. Good chode. Like I like this voice, like Jeffy's voice, like it's good chode game tonight. and then they go out, I was like, hey, what's up? What's your name? What do you do? And the girls were like, hey, what's up? And then the
Yeah.
girls were like fucking into it. And he was like, and then I think was for him was like a epiphany, like you're right. Oh, I was trying to use all these routines and stuff that I thought was what was making it work. But now I'm like making this chode game and things are still working. So like he got kind of like realized that was really about what he was saying that was working.
Yeah. It's like it's like just becoming it, well, I mean it's like vibe, right? Like the women can sense the vibe, because like if like a chode actually comes up and uses chode game, it comes off as like insecure. But then if a guy who has like the experience, or he's okay with himself, whatever, if he starts to use like the chode game, it's like it's just in a different way. It's like totally different vibe. You can tell he's secure with it. He doesn't react much to her reacting to him. He's just doing his thing with a purpose. As
It's
opposed
funny.
to,
It's funny they use the word vibe, because a lot of people are like, oh yes, what does it mean to have a nice vibe or a good
yeah,
vibe? What does that mean? And then really understanding that it really connects with spirituality, in the sense that, yeah, the place you're coming from is ultimately is your vibration. It's your deepest channel of communication, is your energetic vibration.
hmm
And so, like, even looking at the scale of vibration or energy, is like, that's why a guy that's starting off, he has this vibration, lower vibration, so he has to put effort. But a person at higher vibration, maybe you experience it on drugs or LSD, like seems like the girls just come to you, everything just happens for you. And then higher is your vibration, the less you have to do, and the more you are, the more you just be, and things happen for you. And the lower, the more effort you have to put into it in order for it to happen.
yeah, yeah. One thing I always didn't like was when people tried to dissect vibe, because I use the word vibe a lot, and I have read about, I've read like the book Levels of Energy. I've read Power versus Force, which talk about like different levels of consciousness and everything. And I like that stuff because it makes sense to me, and I can really like feel into some of that stuff. I can understand it. But people who are very, very analytical have a huge problem understanding that stuff, because they always want to dissect it. Like, instead of like what we're talking about, like, okay, having a good vibe with a girl, they're like, oh, well, okay, you get your mindset right. And then the mindset creates like your facial expression and your body language and the way that you're carrying your shoulders. And when you do this, like that your hand moves in this way, it's like, and that's
Yeah.
those little subtle cues that cause a girl to be into you. But
Yeah.
it's like way easier, way more simple, and just, I don't know. I just like it. I like it more when we talk about like just the overall vibe of things, because
Yeah, people's like the brain wants to categorize and like put things
yeah,
in box, right? So that's like wants to like grab onto things and like create certainty in
yeah,
within that thing. So that's why like those people are too mental, and then they don't want to like get everything conceptualized and like put in this like whatever like model or this idea that they have to like put it like grab onto it, like, that's maybe
yeah,
why people just gravitate towards that, because most people, to be honest, that's my experience, is that they're so in their head, they're so mental, they're so less intuitive. And I think that's what women have much more than men naturally,
yeah.
due to their nature, that allows them to feel much more and be much more able to be social than most men. because like men are just cut off for them emotions. They don't feel. They just like techniques, lines. What do I
Yeah,
say?
dude, something I really love about women is you can see them like communicating with each other in these little subtle ways. Like they'll look over their shoulder,
Yeah, like
like
yeah, yeah. Is like when you gonna invite them to go to your place or whatever. They look at each other like, and they like, and their facial expressions. They tell each other if it's okay, if it's like
yeah,
it's safe, right?
yeah,
Actually, that's a funny one. I remember, like you remember, like that. There's one girl, like girls, like look at each other and they're like, "Oh, we need to go to the toilet." and and then one time, me and my buddy, we decided to make that. Like, if we didn't, we would see that it was going in nowhere. We
yeah.
just decided to like. I started like telling him, "Hey, bro, hey, girls, we going to the toilet," and then we grab each other's hands and we go to the toilet.
He has like what's the bad?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we have to go to the toilet. And he goes like, what the fuck? That's what we do.
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. No, but yeah, I feel like I just love not overthinking anything because I think it's the best way to actually make things happen. Like not dissecting things too much. If you ask a girl if she liked a guy or not, she'll be like, oh, or she'll like ask her friend, like, how did you feel about that guy? They don't like dissect everything. Like they're not like I have so many friends who are very analytical and they're like, well, I have a job. I have a better job than that girl. She should like me because I can provide for her. And it's like, dude, she doesn't give a shit. Like all she cares about is how she feels about you. And it's funny that when you like ask women, to explain why they feel a certain way about a guy, they usually can't explain it. But you're right, like girls are so much more intuitive usually than guys, and it's like they do get they're usually right with their intuition, like how they feel about a guy or whatever.
True, bro. See, like it's funny, like when you're just like, oh, yeah, cool. No, that's like true, bro. Like with girls, that happens. Like you're not like, or with people in general, when you're not trying to be like impressive. It's actually when people think you're more impressive because you're not trying to be impressive.
Yeah.
Like, oh, someone that is not trying to seek my approval. What's going on with this guy? What's wrong with him? I like him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's it kind of like makes me sad. I don't know, maybe I'm being arrogant here, but it makes me kind of sad when I see some guys who don't know about this because they're like there are some guys who get very very good at picking up girls, but you can tell that deep down they still do care about what other people think. They're still trying to put on, and like I do too. I just try to be aware of it, but it's like, yeah, if you just like let go and just like yeah, just like let go of that and just not care about what other people think, totally embrace everything we are just talking about, like just embrace yourself. Like people, like not try to prove yourself to anybody. People do respond to that does get results. Like people are so focused on the results, like how do
Yeah,
I get the result, but it's
yeah, I
like
think yeah, for a
stop.
long
You let go of getting the results, you actually do get the results. Like try it and really believe it and
yeah,
it'll
I think,
work.
yeah, another trap that I fall into in my journey was like I already knew how to act to look like I don't care,
Oh yeah,
but deep down I do care and I'm attached to it. But I already know how to like manipulate it in a way that it looks like I'm a cool guy. And I think a lot of guys kind of fall into that because it gives results, but then it doesn't really give fulfillment because you're still not getting the result because of your being yourself because you're still playing the front that gets you results, and then that really hurts you inside. Like that really, at least was my experience, that really eats you inside, eats you up. Like regardless of what results you get, you never really get to enjoy it and be fulfilled. You're just like chasing the next and the next one, and it just becomes like a bottomless chase. You know, like it's nothing. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
We reached like an hour. Me and my friends gonna get some wine with some girls' house. They invited us from the beach. We're just
Nice.
gonna have some fun.
Nice, man.
Uh,
Roy. Yeah, thanks
uh,
for having me on here, dude. This was
was
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think we should do it. You have another group, right? A Facebook group. Maybe we can do it there some other time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'd love to have you in the small town group. I have Modern Valley Dating, Small Town Dating is my group. So yeah,
So
I can
you in the if you wanted to promote as well your group here in my group and put it like in the comment sections and stuff so people can join it. There's a lot of people probably like from the US and stuff like this. So yeah,
Awesome.
put in the link the description below. And if you have any like YouTube channels that you can share here as well for people to check out, stuff like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Is this going in the Facebook group or?
Yeah, Facebook group, YouTube right now. Yeah, it's being live streamed to both. Yeah, Facebook and
Okay.
YouTube.
Nice. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, bro. Yeah, it's a guy here, but I guess the guy is there. You have questions real quick? Otherwise, we're gonna finish it off, bro. Yeah, man. I think we have nice conversations. I think we have a lot of good nuggets in these conversations. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we get into some deep stuff. Yeah, I like talking to you, man, because like a lot of times, like this is the stuff that I like talking about in game is just basically everything that we've talked about in the last hour. I don't like to get too technical. I like to come from more of like a natural flowing standpoint where I can just kind of like be flow and just let things happen.
yep. I always hated the idea that even if I'm going to do a public speaking, that I'd have to like know what I'm going to talk about. I just like to really like jump and then just just free fall.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I actually joined Toastmasters a little
Nice,
while
nice.
ago. Yeah, it's a public speaking club where, and I always noticed that I had like this like I would put on my speech persona when I got up there with all my prepared stuff, but then I realized like, wait a second, no. Be the same guy that you are sitting down at home, the same guy that you are sitting down in the audience, when you go up to get in front of people, be that same guy all the time. Just carry yourself there. And that was kind of that almost became like a challenge for me, like a game for me.
Yeah, man. I think that's ultimately what authenticity is about. Is like to be the same, like to not change. Like, of course, you always have empathy and adapting in some shape or form to other people, but not like to the extent where you jeopardize your own sense of self and your own authenticity. So, yeah, I think like being yourself right here while we're chatting in the live stream and just like by myself in my room shouldn't be any different. Shouldn't feel any different. Shouldn't be any any different. Like even like public speaking and stuff, I did some, and it was always kind of the first times was really nerve-wracking, but I just kind of like really liked that idea of like just see what comes up. Just see what happens.
Yeah, works those creative muscles, man.
Yeah. Cool, bro. So let's end it here, guys. I hope you enjoyed and this was helpful in some way. Things are opening up, so I think things are gonna go back slowly to normal, and we're gonna be able to socialize normally anytime soon. So let's hope so. And yeah, man, let's do it some other time in your group as well. And